Ahead of the release of NBA Ranked tomorrow, who should be ranked number 1? And I sat down with Steve Ballmer to talk about the Clippers' new arena. The jump starts now. Welcome to The Jump. I'm Ramona Shelburne, and today I'm joined by our NBA insider, Tim Bontemps, and senior writer for The Undefeated and the unofficial mayor of Oakland, Mark Spears. We're about a week out from the opening of training camps, and two big names are looking for some clarity on their situation. Last week, John Wall and the Rockets agreed to seek a trade partner for him, while Ben Simmons has wanted out of Philly all summer. So, Mark, let's start with you. Who do you think gets dealt first between these two?
I would think conventional wisdom would say John Wall, because he and the Rockets are on the same page and they're, kumbaya and working this thing out. But with John Wall's money, I just don't know how many suitors are really ready to jump in the pool and make that big plunge. So it's complicated as Ben Simmons' situation is, and an extremely complicated. The only thing they agree on is that there probably needs to be a divorce. I still think it's there's many more suitors for Ben Simmons, whether Daryl Morey is listening or not. And the John Wall thing is it's very complicated with that money and his age.
Mark, you say divorce. I say fresh starts. I mean, there's a different framing here. Tim, what do you think?
Nah, that's a divorce.
I think I think Spears is right on the money here. You look at this John Wall contract we got on the screen now, $91 million over the next 2 years. You look at Kemba Walker, a guy who was an easier guy to trade, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who never buy out guys, bought out Kemba Walker's contract, allowed him to go to the New York Knicks. Why do you think they didn't try to rehab his value and move him on? That was because it was going to be very difficult to move that Kemba Walker contract. And John Wall's contract is another $20 million more than Kemba. So you combine the fact that he's making that much more money, and Ben Simmons is a guy who, like Mark said, has a lot of value around the league. To me, I think it's clear that of these two guys, even if it's going to take a while to move Ben Simmons, I think he's one of these two guys that gets moved.
Mark, the question is, who can stand the pressure the longest when it comes to Ben Simmons, right? He wants a fresh start. They would like to rehabilitate his value a little bit. But if he doesn't show up to training camp on September 28th, what happens?
Yeah, I don't agree that his value needs to be rehabbed. I mean, a smart GM once told me that don't go too high or too low with which happens in the postseason. So I think there certainly is some respect for Ben Simmons, a multiple All-Star, and what he could do. But look, I mean, for Ben, I think he's made his decision up. He's working out of LA. He's doing two-a-days. I've heard he's mentally good. He's just waiting on them. So I think the thing that makes it difficult is that Philly is going to reach for pie in the sky, but at some point when the season starts and it gets irritating with the demand, or if they wait to the trade deadline, like the clock is ticking, and at some point they're going to have to step back and be more realistic about what they could get for Ben.
Tim, I think you know the Sixers probably. Tim knows the Sixers better than anybody, right? And the question is, how long can Daryl Morey wait? I mean, how long can the Sixers, if you're there and they start off the year 4-6, 5-5, what does Daryl Morey do?
Absolutely. And that would, to Mark's point, this is about what the Sixers want to do and how much they want to wait on making the right deal for Ben Simmons, as opposed to making the best deal they can make right now and moving on from this situation. And like we've talked about a bunch, to your point, Ramona, there's nobody more suited to being in an uncomfortable situation from an executive standpoint in the league than Daryl Morey. He's perfectly fine with letting this go into the season and waiting to get the best situation he could get for the Sixers going forward. Because look, as we've talked about, they've got Tobias Harris under contract. They've got Joel Embiid under contract. They're way over the salary cap. They're not going to be able to clear Ben Simmons' money out and go sign people in free agency. This is their chance to remain a championship-level team and add another big piece in moving on from Ben Simmons. They can't just make the first deal they can make. They've got to get the right deal for them, and that's what they're going to have to wait to see how good a deal they can get, weighed against how awkward this situation is going to be starting next Monday when Media Day comes, and Ben's probably not in Philly.
You going to be there on Media Day, Tim?
I will be there. We'll live and in person. We'll see what happens.
All right. It's time to run it back to the top plays of the WNBA regular season, which just wrapped up over the weekend. Number 5, Brittany Griner with the dunk. She has a career high 5 dunks this season.
Hey.
Ooh. She gets up.
She got hot.
One hand.
Okay.
Ooh, a little strut down the court.
5 dunks.
Number 4,
wow,
Sabrina Ionescu drains the game winner. Here it is. She always looks like Steph
Bay
Curry.
Area. That's my girl
That was a
right
nice
there
one.
from the Bay.
Liberty making the playoffs
last
this
game
year.
of the season yesterday. Yeah, that was big.
Number
Big for the
3,
league.
Crystal Bradford of the Atlanta Dream hits the Sham God, then finishes the play
I'm
with the
just glad-
and one. I like that we
I'm
call
glad
it the
we're
Sham
just still
God now.
talking about this. I was going to say, I'm glad we're still talking about the Sham God. That's the part I'm excited about. That's awesome.
Bad
Number
for
2.
number 9's ankles.
This is the ageless Candace Parker. Drops a beautiful pass
Ooh,
from half
Okay.
court.
Okay.
that was a nice one.
That.
Look at that.
Overhand.
That's the female magic right there.
And number 1, I'm so sorry to do this to you, Sue, but it has to be
That
Erica
was-
Wheeler's crossover and finish earlier this month. Oh no! Oh, we do the freeze frame and everything.
That was a tough
You
one.
want to see a dead body?
No, of
So I
course.
can't
Sue's
say that
that's
to
my
her.
girl, man. I feel bad. She knows it, though. It's okay. Look, the regular season wrapped up. So here's how the playoff seeding ended up shaking out after an exciting weekend in the W. The first and second rounds are both single elimination, one game, and they reseed after every round. The top 2 teams, the Sun and the Aces, are automatically into the semifinals. And when the series becomes best of 5, the Sun have won 14 straight heading into the playoffs. And here's what I expect from the WNBA playoffs. Look, Connecticut has won 14 in a row. And I think that they have to be the favorite. But Seattle is the defending champs. And they have been load managing. We don't know what Breanna Stewart is going to be able to do with that foot injury. She sat out the rest of the regular season with that. But if she comes back, that is a dangerous mid seed right there. Then there's Candace Parker, who missed a bunch of the season at the beginning with that ankle injury. But Chicago Sky comes in with a lower seed as well. The Aces, with Liz Cambage just coming back from COVID, are seeded number 2. They were in WNBA finals last year. So we look at the WNBA. This to me is one of the most exciting brackets we've seen, because the last couple of years, you said, it's Seattle's the favorite. This year, Connecticut should be the favorite. And I know Jonquel Jones likes to put on disrespect with the CT at the end, capital CT. Let's see if they hold on. What do you guys think?
Well, look, I think when you look at these playoffs, like you just ran through all these stars on all these teams, right? Ramona, the Aces are loaded with stars. They've got Aya Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Liz Cambage. You've got the Storm with Breanna Stewart and Sue Bird. All these teams, a lot of talent, but the Connecticut Sun, 91.7 defensive rating. That's like a New York Knicks from the early 90s defensive rating, especially compared to these other teams. So I think, to your point, they've dominated the regular season. I think despite them lacking some of the star power of these other teams, I think, like you said, you've got to look at them as the favorites to win the title this year.
Mark?
I don't like the single elimination thing in the first and second round. I mean, I think these women have done more than enough, and the game is growing, and the viewership is better. To just have them play single elimination is a disrespect to them in the game.
Oh, we Mark's on freeze frame, but at least he looks good in that freeze frame. Okay, coming up in exactly 2 minutes, exactly 1 year ago, it feels like 10 years, Anthony Davis buried the game winner in the conference finals against the Nuggets. What a moment for AD, and how did Kobe impact that Lakers run in the bubble? That's next. Stick around.
Is it too early to start celebrating Halloween? Well, if you're celebrating by eating Reese's, then no. You're actually late. Not sorry, Reese's.
The new crispy chicken sandwich taco from Taco Bell. Is it a sandwich or a taco? Which side are you on? Try it with special pricing on the app.
What's your ultimate game day experience? Turbo tailgate? Front row seats? Then enter for a chance to win 5 Hour Energy's $10,000 Ultimate Game Day Entertainment Package. For rules and how to enter, visit 5hesport.com.
Are back, folks. We can see people again. Can you believe it, dude?
Man, that's wrong. What? Yo, all right.
Get 2 of your faves for just $6, like 2 Quarter Pounders. Only at McDonald's.
Everyone's discovering the power of 5G, but we've been helping millions of renters get into 5G for years. And also 6G, and 4C, and 2R, and 7L.
Apartments.com, the most popular place to find a place.
Are you ready for a divisional showdown in Lambeau?
Time out for fun now.
Are Rodgers and the Packers ready to bounce back?
All right.
There we go.
Are Golf and the Lions ready to silence the doubters?
And it's caught. Touchdown.
Motor City is ready to hit the road. Titletown is ready to welcome them with open arms. Are you ready?
Here's our distant replay from this day last year in the bubble. AD calls game. Remember after the game, Davis said he yelled Kobe when he shot it? Mark, how strong was Kobe's influence during the Lakers' run in the bubble?
Oh, man, it wasn't just on the Lakers, but also on the entire league. And I'm going to give you a little tip. The NBA is coming out with these anniversary commercials for 75 years.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a Kobe influence in these commercials, similar to what AD just did.
Everybody does that now when they hit that game when he shot, right?
It's unbelievable. Me and Mark were there for that in person. It's just, when they called before the show and said, hey, we're talking about this, it was a year ago. Honestly, it feels like at least 5. It's crazy that it was just a year ago.
I don't miss those bubble meals, boy. They gave you the bubbles.
Yeah, it feels like another lifetime ago. All that stuff, just being there, going to one game after another all day. It was, I mean, it's unlike anything hopefully we ever experience again for many reasons. But it was a crazy thing to be a part of.
I do like that everybody yells Kobe when they shoot that last shot.
Well, my boy Sekou Smith was at that game.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. Let's go with Ann.
This happened and the NBA wants to watch.
Beal driving, kicks it out. Ariza, baseline, dagger!
Wow.
Ariza from the baseline for 3, and the Wizards with a miraculous comeback in Washington. They're saying it did not go. Evidently, it came up short.
Bad for the announcers here, Tim. This has got to be hard from their vantage point.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
Timmy.
No, it's brutal.
Point, I think he was sitting courtside. Yeah, I ain't giving him no pass on that one.
It hit the net.
Steve Buckhantz, the legendary announcer for the Wizards, he was up on the second level there. They moved his seat, and he was right behind it. So that's why he thought it. That's why he thought it went in. That was a rough moment. I remember that game when it happened. I think I was watching it, and he had a hell of a career, but that was a tough moment for him for sure.
Oh, I feel bad. It hit the net. I see why he thought it went in. Oh,
compares the announcers being off the court. This one, the field goal one is brutal.
Anthony Davis got married. He tied the knot this week.
Oakland and New Orleans. That doesn't surprise me.
Rhythm. Here is internet sensation / shooting coach, lethal shooter, shooting from a moving car
/ St. Bonaventure legend.
Whoa.
To another
St.
moving
Bonaventure
car.
legend, lethal shooter.
Tim, does this actually do anything for your game, or is it just cool video? Both are acceptable.
No, listen. Chris Matthews, a.k.a. Lethal Shooter, a.k.a. St. Bonaventure graduate like myself. Huge fan of him. He does some unbelievable stuff. I mean, he's a shot trainer for a bunch of guys. He worked with Bobby Portis last year, helped Bobby bump his three-point shooting up. Part of the Bucks title run was a big part of Bobby Portis. A big part of that. So yeah, I mean this I don't know how much this is helping, but he knows what he's doing when it comes to shooting. He's a heck of a shooting coach.
Yes. Shout out to the truck drivers,
right?
Man. They need more credit for being on the same page.
Do we have a police escort here?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Ambidexterity. Look at this claymation treatment for a Kobe fadeaway on LeBron. The camera's flipped so it looks like he's shooting lefty, and people kept commenting on it, but guess what? Kobe was nice with his left too. Kobe would tell you he practiced that. But was Kobe actually ambidextrous? Look at this, look. He hits that 3 with his left.
Okay, I thought I knew everything about him. That's news to me. I'm not surprised.
He definitely practiced
Didn't he do that at the free throw line before?
Even Mark Cuban standing up. Remember when he hurt his shoulder and he just started shooting left-handed?
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
I just want to know how long it took to do that claymation thing. I mean, look at how long. I mean, I don't know what's it taken 20 hours at least. I mean, look at all that.
I think
crazy.
that's kind of the point of claymation, though. It takes a long time. It's clay.
It
Isn't that
does.
stuff we used to see when we were kids? I remember seeing a lot of claymation when I was a little boy. Not so much now. They need to bring it back.
Gumby.
It's quite
It's
impressive.
retro. Yeah.
Gumby. Yeah.
That's right.
I'm impressed that you know that, Tim.
Hey, since we have the
I
mayor
watched
of
Gumby
Oakland
when I was
here.
a kid.
Well, Mark, you're like the unofficial mayor, but who's the actual mayor of Oakland? Let's talk about the Golden
Gary
State
Payton.
Oh, see, you know. The Golden State Warriors. The Dubs missed the postseason for the second straight season last year, but Steph Curry averaged a career-high 32 points a night and won the scoring title. Steph will get his backcourt mate Klay Thompson back this season, but the Warriors' depth at guard leaves a little bit to be desired. Let's take a look at who's on the squad. Steph is the only point guard listed other than Gary Payton Jr., who appeared in 10 games last year and averaged just under 3 points. Mark, who do you think the Warriors go after as a big-time backup for Steph?
Well, Poole has been quite impressive, especially late in the season, and I think he's going to get every opportunity to show that he deserves to back up Steph. But what the Warriors are doing this week basically tells you that they're concerned. They've been having some workouts the last couple of weeks, and this week they have Avery Bradley coming in, which is, to me, impressive that Avery Bradley's not signed, or not impressive for him, but shocked that he's not signed. Quinn Cook, the former Warrior, is coming in, and also Isaiah Thomas is coming in as well. I'm told that the Warriors actually have sincere interest in Isaiah Thomas. I texted with Isaiah. He said this is the best he's felt since 2017. His body feels good. He feels like he could give that all-star boost that he once had. And he says, even at, 5'9", that he's dunking now, which I wish we could be on the fly in the wall Chase Center and watch these workouts. But expect the Warriors to take 2 of these guys out of this week and also to add a big guy to camp as well.
Well, they do have that final roster spot, and sometimes they choose to leave that open to sign people during the year. But in their playoff runs, in the runs where they went to the finals, they generally needed that backup point guard at some point.
Well, and they're also very expensive too, Ramona. So that's the other part of that 15th roster spot. I could see him leaving it open just because of that, maybe till later in the season. But look, the Warriors are going to go as far as Steph Curry takes them, and if Steph Curry gets hurt, whether they have Avery Bradley or Isaiah Thomas on the roster, it's not going to make any difference in terms of whether they're going to be able to sink or swim, right? If Steph misses 8 or 9 games like he did last year, Golden State's going to be really good. If he misses twice that many games or more than that this year, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I think this is one of those things where it's obviously a need, but it's one of those things that they're not going to find a replacement that's going to do what Steph does anyway. So they just need him to stay healthy, hope to get Klay back around Christmas, and if those guys are both on the court, they're going to think they have a puncher's chance in the West.
All right, coming up on The Jump, I sat down with Steve Ballmer to talk about the Clippers' new arena and what it's been like to share a building with the Lakers. And where does he get all of that in-game energy from? God, I need some of that. Don't go anywhere.
No, you don't.
Look at that.
The Los Angeles Clippers are breaking ground on their new home.
They will create new fans in LA that are Clippers fans instead of Lakers fans.
How long have you wanted to build this stadium?
When I first bought the Clippers, I said, isn't it great? Don't need to build a stadium. Then I buy the team, and it's like, whoa, then it's not our house. This is when, the putting up the pictures of our guys, hiding banners. So I'd say within a year or so of buying the team, I'm starting to get skeptical. We need our own house. And let's make our house a basketball mecca. Just the best place in the world. We're building a fantastic building because we're trying to communicate. We are a fantastic organization. Our fans need to know that. Our players, free agents. It's an identity thing.
Ty Lue had a comment about this in the playoffs.
There's a lot of Laker fans here, but once the Lakers are gone, if we're not playing the Lakers, you should be cheering for the Clippers.
What do you do about that?
I think for enough years the Clippers were bad enough, everybody could just kind of ignore the Clippers.
When things don't go right, they just stay that way.
Oh, me! Oh, my! An embarrassing moment.
We're good now, and we're going to be good year in and year out. And I think some of the fans on the other side, if you will, it's like, what? You dare to question our supremacy? No, we do. We got our fans. We use our expression, LA our way. The other guys feel a little threatened. That's okay. It means we're doing good.
You look like you have fun at games.
Steve Ballmer, fired up.
Loving every minute of it.
What is it going to be like for you at this arena?
I do have fun at games. And I feed off of the energy in the building. And so the more energy, the more fan experience, the more seats that have people in them. Players love fans, so I figured even from our team, to make our team better, more energy in the building is a great thing.
Your Los Angeles Clippers are heading to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in their franchise history.
There was a lot of energy in the building last year.
Yes, there was.
Western Conference Finals. You came up short, though.
We did.
Is there a part of you that wonders what could have happened if Kawhi was there?
I have a lot of, woulda, shoulda, would have been great. We were within a whisker or two of taking care of business in the Western Conference Finals, even without Kawhi. We basically have most of the same team back for next year. I remain optimistic.
How do you look at next year, knowing that you probably won't have Kawhi for a lot of it?
We have a very, very good basketball team, even without Kawhi. We're going to win a lot of games. Obviously, we would be an even better basketball team with Kawhi. But, it's part of the game. Some people talk about we're taking a step back or we got an injured year. No. Our fans can count on the fact that we are going to try to win as many ball games as we can every year.
Do you have a reaction to Kawhi in the Drake video? Can you do that dance too?
I can't do the dance. I was glad to see it. It looked like Kawhi was having a lot of fun. Hopefully, it also said his knees coming along nicely. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in the video.
The Clippers expect that new arena to open in 2024 and 25. Tim, what is the importance of the Clippers moving into their own arena?
Well, first of all, if I'm a fan, I want Steve Ballmer to own the team that I root for, right? I mean, you see in this interview with you, he can't sit still in his seat in the interview, let alone when he's sitting at these games. He spends money. He's into the team. He's kind of the model of what you would want if you're a fan. And look, this arena is part of that. And I do think it is a pretty significant thing for the Clippers to have their own home. I mean, you guys know you're in LA all the time. It is a Laker town through and through. And like he mentioned in that interview with you, it's weird going to Staples Center for Clipper games and just seeing those banners come down over all those uniforms that are on display there, right? It is a home to the Lakers, and the Clippers have always felt like they're visitors. And having their own building, having a basketball intimate arena, I think it's going to give them a real chance to have an established home base where they could say, hey, we're the team here. We don't have to worry about sharing with anybody. And look, they've already gone out and got Kawhi Leonard in free agency, right? This isn't, to me, about recruiting players to come there. People are going to want to play for Ty Lue, to play for a guy like Steve Ballmer. This is about really trying to establish themselves as a franchise in LA where they've always just kind of been a team without a home. And this gives them a chance to potentially have that home now.
Well, and also this takes away the JV game that they always play on Sunday, which always seems to be embarrassing to me. They play at noon and the Clippers play at night, or they're forced to play on Saturday night. Now they want to play on Saturday night. That's because ABC has them on the Saturday showcase game. And also, I hope they take something from Atlanta and they take something from Golden State. And what I mean by that is I want to see some local stores or local restaurants inside this building, some local flavor. I want to see the Serve and Spoon. I want to see Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I want to see Randy's Donuts in there. Things that make the locals, like, you keep hearing this, I would. No, it's Inglewood, right? Inglewood. Inglewood.
Yeah.
People that have been living there, do not sell your house. That football stadium and that basketball arena is going to make your house extremely great in value. Wait, keep it. There's finally some great things coming to Inglewood, but I hope the people that have been there don't get pushed out or financially in the process.
Well, they're committed.
Well, to your point, Mark, if you're doing that and you have some local businesses there, that's another way to try to ingratiate yourselves into that community, right? And get people to really resonate with the Clippers in a way they just have never been able to at Staples Center.
They've made a point of trying to incorporate the local community, but also basketball in LA. So they have a lot of, it's going to feel like LA basketball. They're going to have high school jerseys from all the different local high schools. Palmdale obviously is where Paul George went. Moreno Valley is where Kawhi is from. They're going to have memorabilia from all over the place. And one of the things, like this place, guys, this is going to be one of the most technologically advanced arenas I have ever seen. Like they showed us this Halo scoreboard, okay? So the Halo scoreboard is like a big ring around the arena. In most scoreboards look like a box. This is a Halo, and it's two-sided. And they actually had Kawhi Leonard go down there and shoot free throws to make sure that it wasn't distracting for the players, or shoot free throws to make sure that way.
The Rams have that too, right?
Yeah, it's going to be really. They have concessions where you just walk up and take your drink. You don't have to bring money or credit cards or anything like that. Apparently, they're going to have cameras that scan you.
It's like gambling's going to come too. The gambling place is coming. Clipper Darrell could ride his bike there from where he
Pretty much. Yeah, he was there the other day. It was interesting being there with Jerry West, who obviously had a lot of great years at the Forum, which is right next door. The Clippers had to buy the Forum for $400 million to settle the lawsuit to complete the sale and acquire this land. And they're not sure what they're going to do with the Forum yet. It's still there. It's a great music venue, but there's a lot of Laker history there. Be very interesting to see what the Clippers do with the Forum going forward because they own it now. Yeah. All right, now during the groundbreaking ceremony, at the end of it, let me just set this, okay? I'm going to scene set. We see Kawhi here. We see Paul George. They thought the ceremony was over. LeBron, everybody, I know that video. Kawhi is the most unintentionally funny guy. Okay, but I'm going to scene set. They thought they were done. Like they got the shovels out, they got the dirt out, and then those guys thought they were going to get up and walk out, but they were blocked in. The stage was in between them and the exit, so they got to stay for the, I can make your hands clap, and they were like, no, we just want to go.
They look like kids who got held after school for detention. I mean, Kawhi looked beyond miserable sitting there. That was wild to see. That was amazing.
Well, another thing is that's where you got to embrace the locals, right?
Yeah.
That hands clap band, are they from L.A.? Are they from Inglewood? Why didn't they have the Mac 10? Why didn't they have Omarion? Why didn't they have Swali from Ray Sherman? I probably didn't say that correctly.
Paul George eventually did clap his hands. He was like, I'm going to make your hands clap. And eventually, you don't see it in this video, Kawhi, no, did not look up.
Ray Sherman.
Kawhi was saying no part of
did clap his hands, though. He did.
Mac 10 was there? What?
Yeah, it's true. They did have a lot of other to choose
LeBron
from.
would have had a different tweet then. If Omarion was there singing, it would have been amazing.
All right, coming up, after 9 years in Toronto, how will six-time All-Star Kyle Lowry fit in with Jimmy Butler, Spo, Pat Riley, and the Miami Heat culture? George Sedano joins us to talk the Heat next on The Jump.
Going to beat Robbie Lawler. Book it. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. Watch the Chael Sonnen show with George Sedano on ESPN Plus.
Oh, and he sneaks in a promo.
Yeah, we taped it today.
Hey, welcome to our sideline reporter and ESPN LA radio host and
I was going to say, before you can even introduce him, he's giving takes, he's giving promos.
Let's go.
Thanks for stopping by, George. That's good. Thanks.
Good to be here.
Hey, let's start with the Heat. Kyle Lowry replaces Goran Dragic in both position and jersey number, as he will start at point guard and wear number 7 this season. George, as a Miami native, is Lowry a good fit for #Heat culture?
Oh, come on. You could not ask for a better free agent that was available to fit their Heat culture, because my man is taking charges in all-star games, all right? Pat Riley loves a dude who could take a charge. And here's the other thing. This Heat team, all kidding aside, needed a guy who's been a leader, okay? Another guy, so that way it's not all on Jimmy Butler, right? So there's that part of the equation. And championship experience. Something that, outside of Udonis Haslem, who doesn't play, but obviously plays a big role in helping the team, they sorely lacked. So having this guy like a Kyle Lowry there with Jimmy Butler help the growth of Bam Adebayo continue, help the growth of Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson continue. I think he's the guy that fits that mold for sure.
Who had Ersan Ilyasova on that list? Wow.
Yeah. Well, look, I'd be scared to go in that locker room if I was a young fella now. You got UD, you got Jimmy, and now you got Kyle. Like, you can't be slacking at all. You can't have any mistakes in that locker. You better come early to practice, stay late, and work on your game, or you're going to get cussed out probably throughout the whole practice and workout. So, I mean, like, that's Heat culture, man. They don't play. I mean, UD has set that example and kept that example that he got from Alonzo Mourning, continued it to now, and I'm sure Kyle Lowry will have no problem. He should get more credit in terms of helping Toronto win that championship for what he did in the locker room. But on and off the court, he has certainly enhanced the Miami culture.
No question. The combination of him and PJ Tucker, those two guys are both quintessential Miami Heat players for all the reasons that George said. And the other thing that I think is really important is that Kyle Lowry is really close with Jimmy Butler. And I think him walking into that locker room with that relationship already really strong and being able to kind of help take on some of that leadership mantle with Jimmy, I think is a huge thing for the Heat. And it's going to really allow them to come into the season fully aligned with what they want to do and how they want to do it. And I don't know how much they're going to necessarily load manage during the season or maybe kind of have these guys ready for the playoffs. But you get to the playoffs, you got to score on a team with Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and PJ Tucker. I would say good luck to you if you're going to try to do that. They're going to be an incredibly tough team to play in the postseason.
I'll add this, too. I think this is going to be great for Kyle Lowry, who's 35, but it feels like a young 35 because he doesn't have the mileage that a lot of guys have because he didn't play all that much early in his career. But the Heat culture, the other part of it is you're going to be in the best shape you've ever been in. Ask any dude who goes there. There's a reason why some dudes don't want to go there. So I hope, Kyle, you're ready for the body fat count and the weigh-ins and all that stuff. But you are going to be a better player for it, for sure.
I've been thinking about
George,
going down there.
somebody told me that Pat Riley actually gets on the scale with these guys.
He does.
So if Pat Riley gets on the scale with them, like, what are you going to say? Or you're not going to complain about it. You know, I'm just glad I ain't got to get on that scale.
Yeah, well, listen, he's challenged the media before, too, as someone who was there covering that team for many years. I've been there, and you know, they do it as an organization, too, so they walk the walk and talk the talk. Even the PR guys have to take on the challenge sometimes.
Well, they in trouble. I just saw them at the Hall of Fame. Although it was funny, they didn't get fed. People didn't get fed during the dinner, and Pat Riley, unfortunately, was one of them, so they'll be ready to weigh in.
Well, they just didn't have enough dinners or something?
Wow.
No, it's not the Hall of Fame's fault, but
people didn't send in their RSVP cards.
Yeah, unfortunately, half the room didn't get a meal.
Oh, but it's shared, just portion control.
It was good.
And let's stay in the East with JAYSON Tatum. He's been going viral all summer with his workout pics. It's clear that he's made it a priority to bulk up. Here's what he said about it recently when asked at his camp. Part of me getting older, my body is just starting to change. As well as putting in the work in, I want people to see me go to the basket more. I like the step back jumper. It's compromise. I'll do what people want. So Tim, what's the ceiling for this new version of JAYSON Tatum entering year 5?
Well, look, JAYSON Tatum really does love the isolation step back. It's a big part of his game. But the thing that's going to make him a top 10 player in the NBA is if he does go to the basket more, and specifically if he gets to the foul line more. If you look at the last year's NBA, if you look at the stats, the top 11 guys in the NBA in free throws per game got there at least 8 times per game. JAYSON Tatum got there 5.3. The year before, he got there 4.7. If he wants to go from being a 25, 26-point-a-game scorer to a guy that's scoring 30 points a game, the key for him is going to be going to the line 8, 9, 10 times a game. He does that, all of a sudden he launches himself into a new rarefied air as opposed to being just a really good all-star level player. Then he becomes a guy who I think is legitimately considered a top 10 player in the league.
I'm going to raise the stakes even from where Tim has it because I think he's one of the most talented players we have in the league, okay? I think he can be an MVP caliber player. And to be honest, if the Celtics want to reach the heights that franchise is used to, that's what he's going to have to do, okay? And not only get to the basket, but play defense too because the best players in this sport, the guys who are the MVP candidates, are generally playing on both sides of the ball. He's capable of doing that. We've seen it in certain stretches, but he needs to do that night in and night out. I think he's capable, and I hope that he does it because he's one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, I actually just recently talked to him, and we talked a lot about how he's going to use his Olympic experience to help him take his game up to the next level with the Celtics. But I also asked him, like, yo, man, how much muscle have you gotten over the last couple of months? So he turns to his trainer and says, should we tell him? And his trainer's like, no. We got to keep some things secret. So, yeah, he wouldn't tell me how much muscle he gained, but he definitely looks like he could do a bodybuilding competition right now.
I mean, we just saw him in the Olympics. I can't imagine he gained that much weight. Yeah, I mean, he looked good in the Olympics, but it's not like he gained 40 pounds since then. I think some of these pictures are a little
No, I'm talking about just muscle strength.
Yeah, well, listen, be careful.
Trying to be in the UFC.
Right. That's funny. But be careful, because when you post those pictures, the NBA comes a knocking at your door and like, hey, all of a sudden you look a little more swole than you used to. What's that about?
Yeah, he probably looked like he put some of that cocoa butter on him too, boy, to shine up. You guys are talking about